watching the Renee AM channel, and she brings up this scripture, and I learned so much. I'm so glad there's Bible scholars out there, because the Bible is hard for me to read. I did read it through like 3 times, and I felt like my brain, you know, it was too many lies mixed in, and my brain just said, nope, does not compute. Error, error, error. So I'm glad there's Bible scholars out there to at least give us their point of view. So anyway, these dates do catch my mind, and I haven't really figured out, you know, the whole idea here, but I just wanted to kind of bring you along while I looked at the numbers. So here we are with the first set of numbers just from Exodus by itself, and there is a double 7 here. This is the way. So you can kind of think of the Exodus as a path, and I've also noticed, I've found a few more really great 49 way associations, which I think just strengthen the interpretation, and I'd like to bring that to you. But of course, this is going to be a divergent path. There's possibilities when you do an Exodus. Now, this is also, it has the 88 number. This is, many people interpret this to be the Heil Hitler number, the Nazi number. The Nazis took over this number. They took it over. The 8 is the sacred first sounds, first 4 sounds, and their opposites in the creation of this world as described by the Egyptians. And they described it for themselves. They didn't send it out as propaganda to fool a bunch of people. So I tend to put this higher on the truth scale than what the Vatican tells us. But even in the Vatican version, it says that first there was the word, and that is a sound. And that does also tie into Isis being the spoken word and the heard word, and it also shows one of her symbols is the water symbol, which is also an N symbol. It's a kind of a wave symbol or a sound symbol. And N is one of the original 4. So I just want to point that out, that this is, when you can kind of look at this as an Ankh, and this would be a double Ankh. And these numbers were also cherished. We saw the 16 on the head of Hathor, but they were also cherished by the Cathars, who saw them as Christ numbers. So what was I going to say about that? Now I just lost my train of thought. But anyway, it's mind-boggling. So just try to keep that in mind as we go forward. So we have a 7-7. Now this is the 7-7 here has been, we've seen this a lot lately in the news. You know, 7-7 highways next to Georgia Guidestones, next to Moneta, on and on and on. And so you could kind of see this as a hopeful sign. If you take the Bible symbolically, let me go back to the verse. Hold on. So what I like to do when I look at these scriptures, I like to think about the literal story. I try to be mentally flexible. Like, I think about it as a literal story and as a symbolic story, because I know that in my own life, some of the stories that are literal are also symbolic. So it's very, so I think that something can both be literal and symbolic. So I need to have that mental flexibility when I'm reading something like this. So in the Moses tie into Anunnaki that comes to mind is a video that I put up about, you can maybe go find it, called Back to the Books, Isis, Ishtar, Inanna, and Sargon, the king Sargon. So this was, and I did mention this also in these recent videos, where this was a point of history, you know, possibly, you know, maybe it's symbolic as well in the Sumerian tablets. This is a point of history where Inanna Ishtar tried to bridge the opposing political powers of Enlil and Enki, the other, what we would call fallen angels, or the Nephilim. Okay, so she was a descendant of the Enlil side, and her father was named Sin, and so she grew up under his influence, and he was the first earthborn Nephilim to care about the well-being of his human subjects. So that he was a complete new path from the Enlilites. And Enlil was the dominant, he was the most in charge of the fallen angels. And I don't know if he corresponds directly to Semjazi or not. It's a little bit boggling. So, but what I want to say about this is the story of Sargon is where she tries to bridge these two political, they're fighting over who's going to have control over whose turn it is to be in charge. So she finds this king, this guy Sargon, and she believes him to be a demigod because his mother was afraid of that he would be killed because of his demigod status. So she sent him in a river in a reed basket. Now you got the tie-in. Sorry, it took me a while to get here. River in a reed basket. His mother, Sargon's mother, sent him down the river. Now, and then he was picked up by somebody whose name I can't remember. It's in that video. So Inanna got wind of this, and she said, "Oh, well, we have an apolitical demigod here. We can use him to bridge this political struggle that we have right now." So she's basically on the side of inclusion, cohesion, working things out together, more or less not taking sides but finding the bridge. And this is actually the spirit of the divine female, and this is actually the spirit, I'm not deifying her. Nope, I'm not. But I'm saying that that is a movement of the Holy Spirit when you, instead of taking sides, when you move to combine so that we can all go forward together. That's a movement of the Holy Spirit. So, in my view. And she symbolizes that. So this could be, I'm not saying this for sure, but there's a lot of tie-in symbolism with King Sargon. So what happened was she raised him, she took him and anointed him, in a non-virginal way, which basically aligned his chakras to hers, because that's what sex does. If you do it right, it aligns in your chakras. And so his chakras would be aligned to hers because she's the more powerful being. And also she knows what she's doing. And then she made him king. And she also was long-lived, of course, so she anointed all of his descendants. I think 3 of his descendants ruled after him. And she helped all of them align their chakras repeatedly. So the word virgin really doesn't apply. But she was parthenogenic. She was a different race. Not saying that she was God, but if you use a God to mean a different race, then yes. But if most of us have a different idea, of God than that, so then she wasn't a God. She was just a different race. But she was a bridge builder. So I'm bringing this to the story of Moses. Now I don't know. I don't think there's a story of Sargon freeing the Jews. So I think if this is the core of this story, they took a few stories, the Vatican took a few different stories and kind of mashed them together, possibly combining the symbolism in the way that they wish, or maybe this really happened. So here I have let's look at the gematria of Moses. Hold on. All right, here we are. Now I just want to point out that Moses had horns, and it talks about that he had horns, or rays. There's a question of the translation there. Okay, so this is a 211. I'm sorry, I'm just blanking on this. Let me pause it and look at this for a second. All right. Well, pretty quickly, this is. It looks like it could be a 6-6, which would be the number of the field, which would be. I mean, you could think of that as someone who made a change in the field. I think if you are someone who comes down here and gets your hands dirty, working with the people, then this would be an appropriate number. Plus, the 42 is the meaning of life number. All right, and then this would add to an 8, which would be the infinite loop of time. So I don't see a lot in the Jewish gematria, but I wanted to just come down here, just show you. Babylon, Apollo. Apollo is the twin of Diana Artemis, right? Twins. Twins are popping up everywhere. And Inanna Ishtar has a twin, too. And I really wish I could remember his name. I think it's, Ashur. Oh, he's, he was quite a well-known Anunnaki god of his time. God in quotation marks. Okay, Zeus, Thoth, this is the angel of death, right? Orion, that's Catholic. Snow, Quran. This is Inanna's zodiac sign. This is the sign of the two fishes. Target. Always want to keep an eye on what they're up to. The doors. Leopard. I can't decide whether the meaningful cat of our time is the leopard or the jaguar. Merlin. Pleiadian. Look at that. Oh, yeah, I guess he would have Pleiadian esoteric ties. So, the bride. So I don't know if you could, I don't know what to think about all of this, but just bringing you along while I look at those numbers. Okay, so hail. The Lord rained hail on the land of Egypt. I should do the whole phrase. This is an 11. This could be the, like a 108 or a 9. But I wanted to show you the Bible connection because this word, hail, it's very interesting because do you see these top 4? This is why I wanted to make this video because it's not very often that so many words have precisely the same gematria in all 3 categories. And these are power words, as you notice. Bible, eagle, Alice. That's a power word. It's the ally. Alicia Keys, I think of her as the ally of the CIA. But she has Alice kind of in her name. And then hail. All hail, right? All right, just pop down here to thunder. So we have a few 9s and a 14, and I just want to show you that it matches in the English and the simple to the Sphinx, Hallelujah, Holy Bible, Matthew, Sister, the Magician, Free Will. This is a really important question right now. Brad Pitt's right in there. You can almost see him smiling, can't you? John McCain. These guys, they have their names. They go to like the name tailor and they get their names fixed. Sometimes it happens before they're born. And the moon. Let's not forget the moon and the trident. Wow, there's a lot of tie-ins on thunder. I keep feeling if I just look at this enough, I'm gonna be able to look at this statement. Then I'm gonna be able to look here and say, oh, that means, and I'll just whip out the decode of what this phrase means. All right, well, we have to remember that this is the King James Version, most likely, because that's what most people use, and that was edited as a Freemason document. So it's going to have, they probably worked through all of this. So here we have a double 8 and a 6, and we know that recently we've seen a lot of 816s, and it may have to do, if you think about the Bride of Christ meaning, and the good and the bad Illuminati, there would be some who would be protecting and some who would be trying to kill this. So it makes sense that we would have this, if this was a double 8, we would have some 8 6s showing up with the Exodus idea where he was, the story, at least symbolically, is protective towards a group of people. Well, here we have, look at this, a 168. Moses stretched out his staff toward the sky. Do you see that? Not only is it a 168, but it's a 911 this way, upside down. They love it. They love this, you know. This comes up. You know, when Francis Bacon was editing this, he must have had a computer. And he was like, this is it. Look at this. Look how beautiful it is. We have a 96. This is, I believe, also code for 816. And the reason why this number is the reason it's not just any number. This is the number of Phi. They worship Phi and Pi. So when you see these numbers and you think, wow, okay, the number's there, and then also a Freemason wrote this, this isn't just tinfoil hat stuff. These guys love this number, and also not only that, but this number, the 618, excuse me, the 618 is the number of Phi that retains through the square. So this would be the backward of that. This would be a 996. So this is the opposite of Mother Nature, which is the 699. It's kind of nice that I happen to actually remember that and pop it right out. Good job, brain. Weird numbers though, right? What do you guys think? It's when the numbers are really high, it's not really worth it to scroll down. So I'm not going to do that. Let's just go on to the next phrase. All right. Well, the Lord sent thunder and hail. We have a 22 number here, and it's a little bit like a 102 gateway. And it could possibly, you know, if this is an anagram, it could be a 202 gateway. Here we have a 774. But this also combines 2 and 11. So that, you know, it just depends on how you look at it. It could be a 911 or a 774. The 774 would be the way, but also including the GD number. The GD word, God, without the O. And this is the 4th of July. So that would be the G and the D. And then here we have a 99. But not only is it a 99, because I've been talking to you about the meaning of 2, having to do with the letter B, which is Isis, and she's the 1, 2, and 3. She combines the 1 and the 2 to make the 3rd. So so she's Isis, and then Dennis Fetch from the Luminatus Observer says that the 9 is Set. So if you combine Isis and Set, you get an 11, which is the twins. And then you would get a 911, depending on how you anagram this. But it's all there. The double 9s, the 11. Notice the 11's on the outside. Also a 711, because 711 is another important ratio for them, of course. So if you see this as a core number, it has a valence field of 11 on the outside. So just all things to consider. Let me just scroll down and see if there's anything in here. Well, there's quite a few phrases, but here's one. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, has a match on that. All right. All right, well, this one I might not have taken the right phrase because it seems a little dry in here. But it does have a 9-9 mirror in here. And lightning flashing down to the ground is lightning from above, which is, it is in Hebrew, Barack Obama. That literally means lightning from heaven, which in the Bible, written, of course, by the Vatican, says that that is Lucifer, I believe. Or I don't know if it's Satan or Lucifer that they say that is. All right, I was having trouble getting something that made sense, and I think you have to take the phraseology right out of the book, how it is. So first of all, I had, so the Lord rained hail on the land of Egypt, and that had some interesting numbers, mostly 98s. Then I had, so the Lord rained hail. Not so much. Take the so out, the Lord rained hail. Okay, that is more of a commanding statement. And then we have the 444. So we know that we found the phrase that we were supposed to find. And we have a 64 here. This is an 88. And then we'd have the 98s kind of again. So that's interesting. But this way is a 6, is a 16. So this right here is an 816 or a 618. So that's your phi number in English, in the English gematria, which is supposed to be 6 times this. All right, let's just go ahead and take a look at this. I was going to skip this part. But we have the Galactic Federation. I believe that this is part of a deception. I think really, I think actually there's actually two parts of this. There's a pretender part and which is the deception part, and possibly something that is actually true. But the pretender part is our own government pretending to be these guys, and they actually have telepathic abilities. They can hear your thoughts, and they can also send you telepathic messages. So if you're speaking telepathically to entities that you don't understand, you need to make sure that who they are. One way to do that is to put truth before each statement. Truth, are you so and so? Truth, and you can only do that 3 times, and then they're able to adapt. But they have to answer you. Usually they have to answer you with the truth when you put that in the front, if you're speaking to them telepathically, or if one of them comes down, or even if you're just talking to anybody. You can, if you think somebody's lying to you, and you're talking to somebody like an insurance salesman, you can say, truth, do I really blah blah blah? You will find they have to give you the truth. You will be much closer to the truth if you do that. This is a religion of worshiping the number 93, and this is why the plane hit the 93rd floor in 9/11, and anyway, there's tons of 93 numbers on the 9/11 thing. So those 4 numbers, and then if we come down here, there's a Barack Hussein Obama connection to. Now I forgot what we had. Oh, the Lord rained hail. This just is not a coincidence. Plus we have a 923 here, and that is the number of the verse. Whoops. That is the number of the verse. So that's worth scrolling down for. This has got to be an important number. I just kind of can't figure it out right now. It's a 1-6. So maybe 78 is like a 1-6 plus an 8. Maybe it's a phi number all wrapped in 1. I don't know. And then this can't be a coincidence that this is 23. And we have these numbers. Alice in Wonderland is a 1-2-3. 1-2-3-1. I want to watch that again. Some of these people in power are prostitutes. That might be why this number, they prostitute their soul, you could say. So I think that was worth scrolling down for. I wish I could just like remember this. And this. I would like to stick that in my file forever. So this is a 177, so it has the way in it. All right. On the land of Egypt, we have a 9-6. This is a root, a digital root of 816, which is the phi, the first 3 digits of phi after the decimal point backward. And I know that sounds crazy, but they worship phi, so it matters. This is the death day of JFK. So probably that was picked having to do with these concepts. I found this number in pi, and I want to do a series of that I want to call 4 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie, where I looked at. I have 2 pages worth of pi, and there's placement codes. I found placement codes in pi, and I think that they are either using the long numbers of pi to predict the future, or they are creating events according to pi to comply with pi as a prophecy. Wild idea. So I have a video that I already put up, but I kept it unlisted because I had so many Bride of Christ videos, so I was going to leave that apart, and also just to do more research. This number I did find having a suspicious placement code in the long version of pi. You know, like normal people do. Ooh, who's this guy? So now, if you had time, you could look at George Washington's numbers and JFK's numbers, because there's going to be mirrors in there. There's going to be mirrors in there. And we have an 8-8 right here. Also, this is a different kind of 816. This is a reductive code in the outer core. I don't do that because very much. Oh, look who else is important over here. This brings us back to Elizabeth I in one of my recent videos, and the movie that you guys should watch, because it shows predictive programming and affecting the minds of the masses even as far back as William Shakespeare time. Plus, it's a period piece and it's really awesome. I love those. All Pleiadians are not evil. Pretty sure. Pretty sure. Enoch walked with God. We have a lot of, this is a really important number right here. It'd be great if I could memorize this whole page. And I would love it if I could just rattle off numbers like Zachary Gay Hubbard does. Could someone just like when you, in the old days when you gave someone 5 in the 70s, I don't know if anybody remembers, it was more of like, give me some of that. Give me some of what you got. So I would like some of that. I'd like some of that Zachary K. Hubbard ability to rattle off, the top 5 important tie-ins on any number. Is awesome. All right, this is probably the core statement here, although the numbers, it's a 9-9, so I'm not saying that's really sticking out there. But I also want to say that I think that my communications to Zach are blocked, and I do want to point out that, I want to give a shout out to, I guess everybody. If you would like for me to reply to you, please check your settings and make sure that I can reply, because some people, I can't remember your name right now. Let me pause this. Hold on. Oh, it was Dauntless, and I'd like to reply to you, but you don't have a reply button, so you got to check your settings, and I don't know if you think I'm ignoring you. I'm not. I've been writing back to you just in the comments, but I do feel that our comments are being messed with. I have found comments, like 13 days later that I didn't see for the first 13 days. And so I think that this is happening so that you will not feel the community that I wish for you to feel, and you will stop commenting, because I would never answer you back because your comment is blocked from me or my reply is blocked to you. So I would like for everybody to be aware. Maybe I'll just do a channel update video just with that thing on the comment, just about the comments, because I do mean to answer everybody. And I also noticed this happens with me and other channels, where sometimes I can't see their videos, sometimes I can't comment, or I will comment but they won't see it even if I tag them. So there's a lot of I guess you would say censorship between researchers on YouTube. And it's good for everybody to know about that, so that we don't think that someone else is ignoring us, because they might not see your comment. President Bush. Insane delusions. Serpent bloodline. What are we on? We're on, Land of Egypt. So I just want to point out again that some of these, just exactly how the Nazis will dirty up symbols, the dark Freemasons will dirty up the frequency of a number. So they could actually take something that has a good frequency and they could make a dark association to it. So when you're reading down here, you need to realize that all of these have been messed with. And you need to use your own heart to figure out what it all means. All right, well, thanks for watching. Sorry this got